Right, like I've said, it's New Year's Eve and it is 10 to 5 PM. I'm still enjoying myself because I've got a couple of these in that fridge there, so you know, and I've got a sore throat, so I've got a good excuse, haven't I, for one. But I was stood here, I'm watching this battery discharging again on its second charge. The one with 0.06 of a gram of active material. Now the other one, that small one, had 0.01 of a gram of material, and from memory, or I've still got the, yeah, we got 3 milliwatt hours out of it. 0.01 of a gram. Now if I just do a calculation, this is why I'm coming now, talking now, because it's just cropped up. I haven't done this for ages. 1 divided by 0.01 equals 100 times 3 equals, that works out at 300 milliwatt hours per gram. It's just dawned on me. So what I've got is, now I haven't proved it with this bigger one yet, we know that, because there's more carbon on it, and I've just got 5 milliwatt hours, haven't I? So that would be well, a lot less actually, probably more like 80 or 90 or something like that, thinking about it. So we've got regular coconut variety activated carbon that I've put in the ball mill for about 100 hours. I know the particle size is way smaller than what it was because, as I've said before, I got a series of beakers and I dipped into it and dipped it, the spatula with the carbon on it, into a beaker, and I watched it disperse in the beaker, in the water. And as it progressed on the ball mill, and I did these beakers, it was noticeable to me that the better it got, or the smaller particle size, which is obvious, it was dispersing slower into the bottom of the beaker. So it dispersed in the water, but settled out, I should say, in the beaker. And that's how I got to the point where I thought that's good enough, because that last beaker, it took ages for it to settle out once it had dispersed in the water. So that's the carbon we've got now, and that's the one I'm testing now, and that's the one I am going to reactivate and go again with all of these tests. Now that will be with, I'm testing with a bit of zinc hexacyanoferrate as well, aren't I? And that's doing okay. While I'm at it, Tony Ponsford, sorry mate, I've completely forgot. You did this long one, didn't you? You know, and I read it and I completely forgot to come back to you. I was going to talk about this stuff, and I'll get it. I was going to talk about it in the new year, actually, when I was talking about binders in the other video. This stuff Tony mentioned in his comments, apart from agar and other stuff, but this is xanthan gum, which is a food additive, so it's nice and safe. It's for gelling foods and, you know, thickening foods basically. So I don't want anyone asking me about it. I've just told you. I've used this stuff as a binder for the carbons, and it worked exceptionally well. Not really well, exceptionally well. And I also used it as a gel for electrolyte, and that worked also exceptionally well. So I like this stuff. It's hard to work with, it's hard to mix. If you've tried using CMC, you'll know why. Because If you put too much of the stuff, which is where you need a formula, and I've told you what the formula was for CMC, you'll know that if you put too much in, it just gels up and you can't do anything with it, you know, which is a situation you don't want. So a correct formula is what you want, and Peter Middleton also put in that video a better formula, I think. So, you know, you've got the lot there. But xanthan gum, get some and try it, trust me, because I'm going to, when I do my nickel iron battery, I'm going to go for a gel electrolyte, definitely, first, and I'm going to use that. There's something else I wanted to say. Robert Murray Smith, for quite some excuse me, for quite some time now, I've wondered where RMS and FWG were going, because they seem to be flitting all over the place. Now, I don't mean that in a derogatory sense, I'm just talking in general terms now. But to me, it was all over the place, showing us this, showing us that, showing us this, showing us that, showing us, telling us this, telling us that, and I don't know, I couldn't work any of it out. And fairly recently, when I've looked at some of Rob's patent applications, and one of his older patent applications, I started conjuring up things in my mind, things like, hold on a minute, you did a video telling us that patents were a waste of time and all the rest of it, and if you really want to do something, keep it secret or put it out there into the general public arena, i.e. disclosure, if you like. And I had to do a bit of soul searching with this one. But I've got to say, after looking at Rob's two videos regarding patents, one which regarded patent trolls and the way they operate. Now I'm going to try and add the links to these two videos so you can watch them for yourselves again. I think I put a comment on one of them, and I think I'd had a couple of bevies at the time, well, probably several. I probably shouldn't put the comment on. I didn't say anything derogatory to Rob. It was just my general feeling about patents and what we do and all that, and giving it away, you know. But I think I've come full circle, you know, in my head with where Rob is kind of coming from, and I think he's done the rounds a little bit, because if I look at in the past where I've done something and I've had to find some external finance, I found that it was a bit like that Dragon's Den program, where they just want your life, they want your nuts, they want everything, you know. For them to give you this money and finance what you've got, they want the lot, they want the majority of the shares and all sorts, all manner of things. So I think Rob's looked at all of that, maybe, I don't know, this is just my gut feeling. Rob's looked at all of that and thought, you know, there's got to be a better way. And I think what he's doing now with an FWG, of course, with offering what they've offered to everyone, which is a percentage in shares of the company, and you get this tech, and you were able to build this from our tech for a nominal amount of money. I think he's probably gone in the right direction there. I think it's, thinking about it, a really clever move, because they have got control, full control of the situation. So yeah, I kind of, at first I was thinking, you know, things like the man who said no to patents, and even did a full video on it. But when you digest it all properly, which I hadn't at first, I must admit, when you digest it all properly, a lot of what is, or where he's come to full circle, now makes sense to me. So that's just my little bit on Rob again. So this battery's just finished. The fan stopped on the gizmo, the dummy load I should say. Only 14.5 minutes and 4 milliwatt hours, 5 milliamp hours. So what I'm going to do is give that another charge cycle, and we'll see where it goes. That's just me being impatient, and of course it's 5:05, so I've got to make a decision as to whether I just stay here for the night or have a couple of these, as in in the pub, not here. I might have to do this video in 2 parts, I think, because it's just getting long, isn't it? But spoke about a lot, done a lot, achieved a lot, and see what we get out of it, and then that will probably conclude this video then, once I just give the results of that. So because really I want to get this in the can and start editing at this time of night. Well, it's just me, innit? It's just me, I can't help it. Last year I was here Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Boxing Day, and so on and so on. So that's just me, dedicated to my cause and our cause, all of us as a community. Really hope that Andy from Electron, Proton, Neuron, what was the last one? Electron, Proton, Neuron. Weren't plankton, like I said. That was a joke. Yeah, electron, proton, neuron, muon. Right. Sorry, Andy. Yeah, I was about to say I really hope that that he gets on with it, and if he can form this community, because I think it'd be fantastic if we can do it. Because I know there's just loads of other people out there that, let's say, haven't done anywhere near as much as me, but have got little bits that they could show. And some of those little bits, I'll tell you what, from what I've seen and heard, could be good. Now that guy called Zachariah Heem, he's posted a lot of comments on my videos just lately. I can see that he's a clever guy, and I can see that what he's doing is going to be clever. So let's have a look at it, if you want to show us. Okay, again, pretty much what I expected. We've got an increase in capacity there to 6 milliamp hours, look, and 5 milliwatt hours. Now 20 milliamp load again, with that amount of carbon or active material, we can't expect a lot more, really, to be honest. But curves change, look. What I want to do realistically now is, I think I've proved a point with the capacity. It's only in general terms, it's only a little bit, but it's an increase, and I know that if I kept charging and discharging this, it's going to get better, but from past experience. But what I really want to do is try that, and that has got the zinc hexacyanoferrate in it as well, so I really want to try that. So I'm going to do it. It's New Year's Eve, and it is 7:30. So anyway, here goes. Right, so I've just put that back together again. We've got an initial voltage of 1.233. What I'm going to do is put the charger on. Ooh, not much going on there. That was disappointing. Okay, we're up to 2 volts there. What I'm going to do is clear that timer. Blimey, I don't know what's going on there. Well, actually I've only just built this thing, and I'm supposing that the electrolyte really hasn't had time to do anything. Okay, yes, it is New Year's Eve. Yes, I am out celebrating, but I had to come over. It's 11:30, as you can see, PM. But I just had to come and look at this. It's just me. That is the curve from the charge-discharge cycle of that battery there. And it's the one with the carbon and the zinc hexacyanoferrate, and that's the result. Now 10 milliamps was the load, as you can see. Almost 30 minutes. Not too much in the way of capacity or energy, but first charge. Now it's on charge now, and I'm going to start the cycle off again. So this is the second one. And I will come back sometime tonight to kind of log this, because I want the video for tomorrow to be able to. Well, this don't look good, does it? It's been on charge now for about an hour and a half, so I might have cocked it up, I don't know. Not looking good, but I don't care. It's New Year's Eve. Catch you in a bit. Okay, end result of last run. Pretty nice curve. So I've given this small one some electrolyte. I'm going to leave that one for now because I'm going to go all carbon in a minute. One last run on this. We're set on 10 milliamps, so that's good. Good start. Come back in a minute. I'm going to try this. As I said earlier on in the video, got a bit of a sore throat going on, but it's the new year, 20 to 2 in the morning, and yes, I've been out and celebrated. But like I say, I've got this sore throat, so I'm trying. I couldn't help but to come across and take a look at what's gone on there. I just had to come across and look at it. So that's just me. But what I'd like to do, I've got a beer as well. It's my last one. Is wish everyone a happy new year, a prosperous new year, and everything else that goes with it. And I mean that sincerely, to everyone, all of the YouTube community that follows what we do, what we're about, and well, just about everything else. Obviously I'm slightly inebriated, but that is what it is. I can still speak, well, relatively speaking, so I need to leave it there now because obviously I'm struggling, and I'll see you soon. You be good. Okay, so like I said, following day, well, New Year's Day now. My voice is getting a little bit better this afternoon, I'm glad to say. That small battery, that was the last run. charged it for about 5 minutes or something like that. Ran it at 10 milliamps, not earth shattering, but you know, still ran for almost 10 minutes for the size of the device. I've just charged this one again for the last time. I said I weren't going to do it, but I'm going to run it at 10 milliamps and just see what happens. And then I'm going to go to the all carbon and see what the difference is. As in, you know, dump the zinc plate, just put a carbon plate in there. Now to me that isn't holding good voltage really, considering it's 10 milliamps. So right, maybe I was wrong. Maybe 1.3, almost 1.4 volts is where it likes to be, because it's dropping quite slowly now, as you can see. Right, I'll come back. Right, we're not doing too bad here, are we? 22 minutes, still going. What we got? 5 milliwatt hours, 4 milliamp hours. Nice run. I need to weigh this again to find out how much material's on there. Right, we're just coming up to a close. 30 minutes, look. I was kind of hoping that those two 5s there would change to a pair of 6s, but never mind. So that's that. Okay, it is New Year's Day. Happy New Year again, everyone. It's 20 to 3 in the afternoon. I must admit I didn't surface until about 12 o'clock, so I knew that was going to happen. It's fatal, isn't it, you know, going out and having a few. But I'm back over here again today, having a go. And what I've done is I've just built, with those small pieces of graphite, I've just built an all carbon one. So carbon, as in collector plates, separator material. Well, the separator is the paper that I've painted the carbon on, isn't it? So, and what I've got is just that activated carbon on the anode, and I've got that the other sheet I painted with a little bit of that zinc hexacyanoferrate on the cathode. I charged it up once, discharged it, and it ran for 3 minutes 41. So it's on its second charge now, and it only did 1 milliamp hour, but I didn't give it a very long charge. I don't really know if it needs a long charge, you know. I don't think it does. I mean, I'm slightly overcharging, I think, at 2 volts, but there is no outgassing at all. I haven't seen one single bubble throughout any of these experiments, so that's where I am today. But while I was over there, I've just picked this up because today this is extremely fine stainless steel mesh, extremely fine, and I'm going to zinc plate some of that today and try that as the collector plate on the anode. So that's the other thing I'm going to be trying today, amongst other stuff. I've got to make up the plating solution yet, and I've also got to make some binder, CMC SBR. I'll just get on with it, shall I? Okay, it's kind of a test comparison. I've done away with those other 2 bits of graphite stuff. I've got 2 pieces of graphite here now. I'll charge it up for about 25 seconds, give it a run, and it ran like that for 49 seconds. Now this has been on charge for a lot longer than I wanted it to be, because I'm doing other stuff as well. So I don't know what's going to happen, and we're going to press start. And I've just realised we're on a 10 milliamp load. I wanted it to be 20, but there you go. Alright, well, I'm doing other stuff, so I'll come back in a minute. Well, that's just stopped. Sorry about my groggy voice again today, but there's nothing I can do about that. Not a bad curve there. Only 4.5 minutes. Got some bounce back. Disappointing 1 milliwatt hour, 1 milliamp hour capacity. So I'm not going to prolong this issue. We've done the zinc carbon collectors. I just wanted to try the carbon collectors. I did forget to say though, I am basing all of this on what I consider to be an inferior carbon to any of the other carbons that I've produced in the past. It was just a quick look at this, well, quick look, 3 days worth of looks now with this, you know, regular coconut variety activated carbon, and to boot I'm only using zinc sulfate, you know, as the electrolyte. So a lot of my other electrolytes in the past have been completely different to this, and I guess would produce more, but you know, it's just back to basics to trial this carbon, and of course we're testing out this zinc hexacyanoferrate as well. So, well, just briefly, you know, I mean, it's not a scientific experiment, is it, as such? But I'm going to make up some binder in a minute, so off to do that then. Hello. I'm feeling a bit better. It's still New Year's Day. It is almost 5 to 7 PM. I've kind of spent the day messing around but recuperating as well, a little bit. I'm sorry if I'm still a bit groggy throat, but you know, there's nothing I can do about that. But I feel a bit better today in respect of this, and explaining some more of this, because I kind of thought to myself, I watched that video back and I thought, well, hold on, Kev, you said the word, or the 2 words, polyatomic ions. It's important to know what they are, and they are non-metal ions. They've all got a net charge, be it a plus or a minus. I'm going to try and explain some of that now. We know that we started with sodium chloride. We know that the sodium ion ended up with a plus charge, and that the chloride, which started off as chlorine, the atom, ended up as with a net negative charge. So basically that became electronegative, and that became electropositive. But I did explain why that was, because the sodium started out with 11 electrons, 11 protons, and the chlorine started out with 17 electrons, 17 protons. So it ended up as, because the sodium gave up an electron, we ended up with 10 instead of 11. Have I got that right? Yeah. And it ended up with 11 protons. So that links to that, electropositive. Oops, blimey. I must find a way of fixing this board properly. I can't put it on a wall. Anyway, so electronegative, we ended up with 1 extra electron, 1 more than proton, so that became electronegative. Now, it's important to bear this in mind still when I get to this side of the board, because what I've done is I've taken 3 polyatomic ions, if you like, excuse me, We've got acetate, sulfate and chloride. Just three that generally we know of and we use. And it's going to become ever so apparent and ever so important with these polyatomic ions and what they do to balance everything out in your batteries. That's so important. Now obviously I'm talking about redox reaction, oxidation reduction, where where your anode and your cathode, we've got oxidation and we've got reduction on the cathode, and it's a whole complex issue on its own, that, and I'm going to go into all of that as well, and what happens with these polyatomic ions and all of the other ions, because when we put one of these like sodium chloride into solution, what happens? Everything disperses, doesn't it? If you put zinc chloride into solution, what do you end up with? Well, you've got a zinc ion, millions of them floating around in solution, and the same with chloride. Ions floating around in solution, and to balance all of these out is important, and like I said, I'm going to go into that in another video, but I'm digressing now. So we can scrub that because we know what that is. Okay. Now I should have prepared this a bit better, shouldn't I? But anyway, doesn't matter, does it? Right, these are written as you see them, okay? That is, let's put it over here. Okay, that's that one. We'll get rid of the sodium chloride and we'll put chloride up there. Okay, so we've got rid of that one. Sulfate. And we got rid of that one. I'm going to have to get some different pens, different colours. I want some more colours, and I want some bigger tips as well to do this quickly. Right, so we've got chloride, sulfate and acetate. Zinc acetate, as I showed you. What else have I got written on here? Oh, yeah, okay. 218 grams per mole, depending on dihydrate or yeah, okay. Right, I've got a lot written on there on labels, but the acetate's quite interesting actually, with a bearing on this, because so a polyatomic ion, then we know it's a non-metal ion, and generally what you find with polyatomic ions is it's a group of atoms. I kind of look at that as a molecule, but it's a group of atoms with a net charge, and these are the net charges, aren't they? Now we need to look at that and think, well, what does all this mean? Well, let's take acetate. We'll write it in. Sulfate. And chloride. Oh. Now, that I can leave as it is. Sulfate, SO4, what is that? We know what the 2 minus is. That's the net charge. So what's that for there then? Well, I'll tell you what it is. What we've got there is sulfur a sulfur atom, and we've got 4 oxygen atoms bonded. So we see it like that. As a basic model. Now I know that you can look at this and you can look at the bonds, and what you see is, you know, you'll see that, and you'll see either that or that. Okay, but I'm not going to go into bonds today and the way things are bonded and all of that. I just want to talk about the model. So what we've got is sulfur 1, oxygen 4. So oxygen, 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 oxygen. Okay, and that's how you see the model. Now, to get that net charge there, that 2- charge, what you got to do is add up all the electrons and protons again within the group, and you get back to where we were before, to arrive at that net charge. So if you got 16 protons, 18 electrons, you end up with that net charge, 2-. So that's why I said about the importance of, you know, those electrons, protons, adding them up, calculating the difference, and that's what you get. Now if you've got 16 protons and 14 electrons, that would be a 2+, wouldn't it? It's simple. Well, I say simple, it weren't a while back, I tell you, to me, because this used to blow my head, but I'm kind of getting my head around it now. So we've got chloride, sulfate and acetate. So it's the same thing. We've got C2. So we've got, well, actually I can't use that. C2, two carbon atoms, H3, hydrogen. Now I'm just going to write those in like that. 3 hydrogen, O2, 2 oxygens. I'm hoping you can see that. I don't know if you can actually, but let's make it bigger. Acetate. Two carbons, 3 hydrogens. Now you would see the, you know, the bonding, you know, but like I say, I'm not going to go into that. I don't even know what the bonds are actually, but so you've got, why am I doing it like this? So we've got 2 carbon, 3 hydrogen, and then 2 oxygen. And that's the group, how they're bonded together. So that's what all of this means. C2H3O2, C2H3O2. We've got groups, and that is generally how all polyatomic ions appear. Now it can be a singular or a group, and we know how we get the charges, the net charges, you know, be it a 2- or a +2 or +1, 1-, whatever. So I just thought I'd kind of try to explain what polyatomic ions are. and how they appear and why they are the way they are. And I hope I've done it in kind of a roundabout way. There's going to be more to explain on this when I get to batteries, redox and all the rest of it. Oxidation, reduction. Because again, it took a while for me to get my head around that. It really did. How do you sum it up? Well, they do they kind of do they write two words: oil rig. Oxidation is loss. Reduction is gain. Reduction is gain. How the hell does that work in your head initially when you first hear it? But you know, you kind of see what's going on with this, don't you? It's the same thing really, but I'm going to get into all of that, redox reactions and how we sort of calculate everything that's going on in the battery, and where all of these polyatomic ions really do come into their own to balance everything out. Because if it's not balanced, if it's not a balanced equation, what you can get is a more positive build-up on your anode and a negative build-up on your cathode. So I'll explain that. I'll explain it better and in more detail in another video. So what we've got there are three polyatomic anions, because they are electronegative or a minus symbol. They're all minus, and if that was a plus, it would be a polyatomic cation. So yeah, I'll leave it there. Okay, one or two things going on today. I'm filtering my activated carbon. As you can see, I'm pouring that container into that filter there. Not much of a filter system, but it's doing what I want it to do at the moment. I'm not interested in what's in there. I'm interested in the stuff that's gone through that tissue. So that's that one. Got another battery there, made with that small piece of graphite again, and you'll see some stainless steel mesh. I'm just charging it. It's had 3 minutes. That one there was I think about 30 seconds worth of charge, maybe 20 seconds, I don't know, something like that. Weren't a lot. And I just tried it. So what I'm going to do after 3 minutes, because that's just reached 0, I'm going to give it another go, like that. Right, I'll come back in a minute. And that's literally just stopped. So that's some severe drop off, that is, isn't it? I mean, that really does just cut. But look at the bounce back on that. I mean, we got 3 minutes run time as well. I'm going to charge that again. Charge is nice and quick. This is starting to look promising, actually. So that was a 3 minute charge, well, 3.5 again, I think. What I'm going to do, start my timer and charge that again. I'm just going to keep going. Wow, third charge. charge number 4 coming up then. I'm going to give it 5 minutes. 6 minutes 47. As far as I'm concerned, there was only one other obvious step. So I've taken that material off there, that piece of graphite there, and I've put a larger piece of the active material in there, and this larger piece of graphite. It's not a lot bigger, but you know, it's just slightly, it's about 1.5 times that, I suppose. Now this I find hard to believe. Look at the voltage, look at the time, 2 milliwatt hours. Blimey. And that is still that activated the regular coconut variety activated carbon gone through the ball mill. I know it's only a 10 milliamp load, but just look at that. I'll come back in a bit. Well, for a 5-minute charge and its first charge, to get to 10 minutes and still got 1.141 volts. Let's have a look at the rest of it in a minute. Okay, it caught me unawares because obviously this thing does tail off rather quickly, doesn't it? So I'm going to give it one more charge. I'm going to clear that and put it on charge. Draws nice current. I'm going to give it 10 minutes charge this time, and then we'll see where it goes. Another cracking little run there. I'm going to build a big one. I'm being bleeped at as well. Right, I've done a slightly bigger one there as well. I've charged it, well, I left that running, but I did charge it for 5 minutes. I might be in the same boat as I was the other day actually, in respect of there's every likelihood that there's the same amount of material on that bigger piece of paper than the smaller one, so only time will tell, but I'm going to make some more anyway today. I'm starting to be impressed with this carbon, slightly. So, well actually, and that mesh. But let's see where this goes on a 5-minute charge. I'll come back in a bit. Well, for some reason that didn't do too well, but let's just give it a longer charge. Okay Houston, we have a problem. Obviously tried upscaling this to that larger one, and well, as you can see, it's a bit of a failure, but I've got something else to try, so I'll be back shortly. Right, well, that's coming up to the end of its first run. Not a bad time that actually. We only achieved 2 milliwatt hours, as you can see, but I'm gonna, I keep forgetting to turn this thing off. Right, let's clear that. I'm gonna put that back on charge one more time because it's obviously the second charge on the new material. So I'm still working on this. It's not fully bound at the moment, by which I mean I've done some cross-linking, but I haven't done, you know, I'm going to put it in some CMC and SBR as well. So I'll let you guys know what happens with this. Well, I'll show you. Over and out. Hello again. Well, that's fairly interesting, isn't it? That mesh. That small battery with that material on, there was about 0.01, possibly a little bit more, grams of material, of active material on there. So not 0.1, 0.01. Crazy. This new material I've just shown you, I produced it in, well, I produced the material first, which is, and this is it. That's the material in liquid form. I've just added some CMC, let that settle for an hour as per Pete's instructions. I've just added the SBR as well, so I'm going to get that in a nice sealed container now. But I then filter a little bit of water out of it and put it in my heated press, and it dries in minutes, you know, so, and it gets compressed as well, so bonus. So yeah, this thing's on its second charge, 1.44 volts. It's only 4¼ minutes at the moment, but it's, you know, it's a new material that I'm testing, a new way of making it. And what I do when I press it, I use this stuff, normal kitchen greaseproof paper, in the press. So I sandwich it between two pieces of that, so it doesn't stick, basically. But proving to be a not bad material, actually. So, well, I've done a few tests with it. I'll tell you all about it. But it is in binder. The one that's on test wasn't fully bound. I just did a bit of cross-linking. That you just see me pour out is, as I've just said, in the full binder. So we'll see how it turns out. I'm going to filter some now and test, make some more, I should say. So I'll let you know. I will be doing some more whiteboard chemistry. For anyone that sort of thinks it was a bit layman, then that's what it was intended to be, because that's what I am, and that's what a lot of people are as well. One of the links in this video is kind of where I got a lot of the inspiration from to do some of that on that whiteboard. A guy that I watch quite a bit, actually, other than of course RMS, but this guy really goes into it in finite detail, and I'll put the link, I'll give you his channel name and you can check it out, because the way he explains things, it's just so simple to understand. What was I watching today? Well, it was all about Lewis structures and stuff like that. You know, bonds, and the reason I didn't go into the bond structure, when I did that, so I'm looking at my whiteboard, when we looked at the chloride, the sulfate and the acetate, and the way the carbons are bonded to the hydrogens, to the oxygens, it was just a bit, it's kind of difficult to, because there are some of these polyatomic ions with covalent and ionic bonds, and it gets a bit involved, you know, and the way these atoms share the electrons, you know, it gets a bit involved. So I'll be a bit hoarse again today, but I'll do my best to explain some of it. We don't really need to go there, really. It's good enough to know what a polyatomic ion is, and what part it plays within our chemistry. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. this is, I think, coming to an end. Well, we've got 7 minutes 44. There's 0.9 of a volt left, so it just tail off quite quick, so I'll let you know. Okay, not bad for the second run. Nice recovery. Only 2 milliwatt hours again, but that was a strange ending there. When we look at the rest of it, that got a bit strange. Still, what I'm going to do is charge this little beauty again. Now that is a new piece of that material. That one I tested there was the one without the binder, and this is the one with the binder, as in CMC and SBR, and that's what we've got. Still got almost 1.5 volts at 12 minutes. So it might be looking good, this one. Still on the stainless steel mesh there. You know what? I'm glad I've got it back out the storeroom now. It was only because it was a mess over there that I didn't bring it back sooner, that press. As I've said before, it's a heated press. It was extremely cheap. It was £150 UK money on eBay, and it's, you know, a t-shirt printing press where they do the thermal transfers, you know, on a t-shirt. That's all it is. But the pressure you can get on it as well is phenomenal if you want the pressure. I've had a few mishaps, don't get me wrong, where I've just squeezed everything, you know, north, south, east and west. On a horizontal plane, of course. But the amount of material that's on there, I'm going to tell you, is virtually nothing. I can't believe this. It's 1.2 volts. And we're almost 24 minutes on that. There's just nothing in there, you know, it's just unbelievable. So I'm glad I had a little play now. There's a couple of other things I want to do this evening, and it is 20 to 8. So this is the day after New Year's Day now. I'm still not very well. I've still got a sore throat and a bad chest and all the rest of it, but one of the things I wanted to do was just prove a point, if I could, with that other activated carbon. That is a blend, by the way, on there. It's a blend with my activated, sorry, not my activated carbon, but that activated carbon, the coconut stuff that I put through the ball mill for 100 hours. And I'm looking at it in a jar over there. I filtered it today, as you saw earlier on in the video. I put it through the filter. The stuff that I got on the tissue has gone in a jar, or a beaker I should say. The other stuff is in a beaker over there. Now that's been all day. I mean, we've got to be talking at least 8-9 hours, and it's still in suspension. There is no sign whatsoever of that settling out. So what I wanted to do was capture the stuff that went through the filter and then try that as well at some point. But what I've got there is a piece of paper, and I've actually put 4 layers of it on that and see if it works. Yeah, there's other stuff in it as well. I put a bit of carbon black in it, only a little bit, but a bit. I put some graphite in it, 5 micron. and yeah, milled carbon fibre, a big old tub of it there. It's got its uses. This is like going back to where I was ages ago, where I was talking about filling all those voids, those other spaces around other pieces of carbon, you know. So that's what I've got on there in a binder, CMC SBR. So I did say quite some time back in another video that I found that the carbons worked so much better in the binder than not, you know. There are ways to package your carbons without using a binder, and that works fairly well as well. That's one of Peter Middleton's little tricks. And my mate Tony Morrish, he started to adopt that and got it working extremely well, but it's just too much work as far as I'm concerned for me, you know. So I'll just stick to, you know, what I know, my path, as it were. But this now, while I'm talking, 1.15 volts, almost 28 minutes, 7 milliwatt hours on that. I know it's only a 10 milliamp load, but I might just try 20 in a minute. Well, I say in a minute when this finishes, and we'll see what's what. Just to speed it up a little bit. I'll be back in a bit. Before I go, I did say about that. Let's put that to dry. I'm also going to try, I don't know how conductive this stuff is. I know the stuff that's in the tub up there is conductive. I can't remember what the value was, but it's definitely quite low in resistance. I'm going to also do well, I've done it. It's a little blend there, and I'll just put some graphite in with it, and we'll have a look, see if it ups the conductivity or not. I mean, it's working extremely well anyway, so you know, it's just working well. So still over a volt, I can't believe it. I'll catch you in a bit. And yes, there it is. That's those other couple of test pieces I was talking about. That's the graphite, and that is what's going on. Almost 33 minutes, and you can see the voltage, and we're up to 7 milliwatt hours. Incredible. First charge. It's taken a nosedive now, so anything could happen, but we'll see. I'm now gobsmacked here because it's 40 minutes now. I know it's just coming to a close, and it is tailing off quickly like we expected, or like I expected I should say. But it is still just that one there. That's all it is, and you can see how big it is. You know, there's not a lot of material under there, I can assure you. So got some recovery as well, look. 8 milliwatt hours. It's going to be quite difficult to quantify the amount of my carbon on there. I know I said that we've got a little bit of carbon black in there as well, but it was only a pinch. Some of that milled carbon fibre not a lot. Little bit of graphite, but the actual activated carbon, there isn't going to be a lot in there. You know, and if I were to say 0.02 of a gram, that'd be about it, I reckon. So yeah, back on charge again. I've put some tape over the bleeper on this. It was a bit loud, wasn't it? So we'll put that back on charge. Just have a look at that for a minute. Pulling nice current. Voltage is coming up nicely. Now, I did say that was its first charge, and it is, or it was. this being the second. I gave it 30 minutes. So what I'm going to do is give it 30 minutes on that timer again, and see where we go. Or should I give it a bit longer to hopefully get a longer time there, and some more energy out of it? I don't know. I'll see how I feel at the time. Back in a bit. Okay, it's turning into a bit of an epic, this one. I didn't intend it to be that way, but I'm just editing that video now that you've been watching, if you've got this far. What can I leave out? It's an unfolding story. Whole series of tests. Well, there's all sorts in this video, really. The new community stuff, hopefully. You know, us energy storage people. But it is an unfolding story, and with what I've done today as well, with developing some new material, if you stick with it, have a look at it, see it for what it is. There's next to no material being used in the way of active material. 0.01, 0.06, whatever. It's not a lot of material for the run times that I'm getting. So it's proving one thing, that carbon is pretty good. So I mean, it's now the day after New Year's Day, the following day, so it's taken a lot of time and effort to do the videos and do everything on the bench and all the rest, with everything else I'm doing as well. So I can only apologise. Okay, this is that same battery. I've just moved it along the board, really. Haven't had an opportunity to test those other two out yet. The one with just carbon and the other one with the graphite. Obviously not that size, I'll cut them down. But this is the second run for that battery I've just shown you. It's doing okay. I don't think it's going to do anywhere near as good as the first run, and I've noticed that there is a problem, and the problem is with that mesh. So what I'm going to have to do, I know what the problem is, I don't know how to deal with it yet, but what I'm going to do is, getting a bit blurry there, attempt to deal with it, and once I've dealt with it, I'll tell you what the problem was and how I dealt with it. Well, still not bad, almost 30 minutes there. 6 milliwatt hours this time as opposed to 8. But like I said, I do feel that there is a problem that I need to look at or address. So I am going to give this another charge. There are times when I think to myself, why am I so stupid? You know, I said I got a problem with this mesh. Well, it's a similar problem to when I was using that zinc plate. Kind of got this layer build-up. I thought, you know, I did mention that, you know, is it a passive oxide layer or whatever, but either way it's a layer that we don't want. But of course if I thought about it, all of these batteries are in open air, aren't they? I'm guessing if it was a flooded cell or in a pouch all on its own, no air, no oxygen, might be alright. Have to try it. Well, I've been off editing videos, all three of them, or four, I don't know yet, not certain, but you see that one there. Now it is quite late, and that is the time, so it's early hours of the morning, but the last charge and the last run of that battery you've just seen there, or battery cell, call it what you like, 43 minutes, look, 9 milliwatt hours, 7 milliamp hours, and there's the curve, 10 milliamps again on the load, and we've even got 1.038 volts. So this new material then, wow. I've got to get some more of that material in there on that press tomorrow, not tonight now, but there it is in there, that material. So it's looking good. Wow, 43 minutes. What can I say? Well, I will finish by saying that that was the first one, and this is the second one. The material there turned out lovely, perfect. This particular one didn't, but I tried it anyway. And what I'm going to do now, also I didn't get to test that or that, which was a lot of material on that paper, but tomorrow is another day. But what I'm going to do, just took that clamp off there now. Now you can see this is still the stainless steel mesh, okay. I'm going to try and part this, and you will see that the material actually stuck to that greaseproof paper, which is like that, you know, stuff you put in the oven, household greaseproof paper. Don't know what anyone else calls it anywhere else, but that's what we call it here in the UK. And that was what I had to work with. Now you can see that there's not a mass of material there, so that was the good one, that was the bad one. There was more pressure on that one in the press than this one, but you know, that's the way it goes, isn't it? That's all there is to it. So you can see that size wise, that compared to that, you know, there's not a massive difference, but you know, there we go. Okay, I didn't think I was going to charge this one again, but I did this morning. It's a new day, and I've just got a quick run there, 27 minutes. Now I didn't charge it for as long as I did last night, but there you go. And it, again, 7 milliwatt hours. It's a nice curve, it tails off fairly quickly. That's due to how much we charge it. I've sort of gathered that now. But interestingly enough, that smaller piece, now there's a slightly larger piece on there, we know that, you've seen that. This smaller piece, I thought, let's pop it on the scales. Now this is not all carbon, don't forget. This is a makeup, various materials, and it weighs, let's let it settle down, 0.25 of a gram. That's astonishing really, when we consider, or when I consider, what that is made up of and with. So, and I think again, I can categorically say that there isn't a lot of carbon in that material at all. My active materials, that is, the activated carbon. So where do we go from here? Well, I know exactly where we're going to go from here now. I'm going to test a larger piece of that material, obviously, to get some real power, if it's possible. And B, I'm going to build a small cell like that again. I'm going to build kind of a wet cell to discount that oxygen in the air. I think is the way forward. But I think what I have to do is kind of close this video now, because as you know, or some of you will, some of you won't, if you watch the videos, they are quite long, but which bit could I have left out? There's no crazy long times looking at a computer screen, there's quite a lot of other stuff within the video as well. I know, a lot of it's me talking, but that is just what it is, isn't it? Would you rather me, point the camera at a battery cell and a screen and talk, or just, sort of face to face like this, yeah, okay. I know what some of you were thinking then. But I feel that, the way my videos are evolving now is the way I want to do it, So, not an end to the story yet, by far, because don't forget, I'm going to fire that material in the kiln and activate it again. And then, what I'm hoping for is that that material is going to be even better. So, I hope that, we've all learned something from this. And I hope above all it was even mildly interesting to some people. I'm still bunged up with a cold. There's nothing I can do about that. So I've done my best, over the holiday period. So I've got a couple of days left. So it's amazing how many things you do forget to say when you're doing this. What I did forget to say was, there's a big old tub of material there. This is the material that's on this last battery that you've seen. Now in there is a makeup, which I'm going to tell you all about. Not right this minute, but I'm going to tell you all about it. But carbon wise, I've told you what was in there. My active material, some graphite. I mean, in terms of weight, there's more graphite than my active carbon. There's some milled carbon fibre, and there's a little pinch of carbon black. And when I think about how much of my active carbon that came out the ball mill is in there, it's just, compared to that big tub, it really is minuscule. I think I'll probably put, if I can find it, that's the carbon, which I've filtered and dried. Now that's wet, that's quite heavy, that is. But I put, I think it was about 1.5 teaspoons in, and not heat, because it was soaking wet. Well, I'll show you. I'll show you exactly what I mean. I didn't use that because I'm drying that for a particular purpose. That's going to go back in the kiln. So we've got this watery solution, and you can't get a heat teaspoon of it. You know, you just can't, because that's what I put in. That's in DI water. So what I'm trying to say, and what I'm trying to get at is, if I said that I think that there's only 0.1, possibly 0.01, possibly 0.02 of a gram of my active material in that last battery, that's all you're going to get. They cannot possibly. In fact, I'd go even less than that if I had to. If I had to hazard a guess at it, because I know what went in that big tub of material in terms of that carbon. Now there may be other carbons playing a factor. The milled carbon fibre, for one, is going to be possibly playing a little bit of a role in there, but it's not as good, anywhere near as good as this active carbon, to use it, because I've used it many times. So what am I trying to say then? Well, if we'd just looked at the energy storage capabilities of that carbon, and for how much is in there, let's say there was 0.02 of a gram. And now I'm comparing sizes to the piece of paper as well, you know, with, in fact when I picked that up, that feels quite heavy to me, but it's the one where there's about 3 coats. So, if I did just a quick calculation based on what I'm saying, if I based it on 0.02 of a gram, the last result was 9 milliwatt hours, wasn't it? So we go times 9 equals, and this calculator says 450. So that calculator is saying 450 milliwatt hours per gram. And it is not beyond the realms of possibility, because I've had way more than that in the past. But from this simple electrolyte and this simple battery setup, I find that amazing. I really do. Right, what have we got? I've left that one for a minute. What I wanted to do was make absolutely certain that I'm not kidding myself where the outgassing is concerned, and also to get this stuff into an environment where there's no air. So I built a little pouch one, and it was using one of those pieces of material that I had on the bench. It's not huge, it's about the same as what's under there. Unfortunately I've used an old piece of cell guard, so I don't know if that's holding me back at all, but I've charged this thing up and I'm just discharging it now. And as regards outgassing, there were a couple of just tiny bubbles there. There's nothing massive on the charging at all, but I did notice a couple of bubbles. So what I've done, that's flicking from one to the other, so I've turned the power supply down to 1.9 volts now. So I'll keep it at 1.9, and I'll charge this again and check it again. So it's running at the moment, it's discharging I should say, 3 minutes. It's not looking brilliant, not looking bad, so you know, we shall have to see. I might have to modify this slightly in respect of getting rid of that cell guard and just put a piece of paper back in, because I really don't think that cell guard's any good, but it was an old piece I had out of a lithium ion battery, and I thought that was a bubble, then it's not. I've used it in various other experiments and I really don't think it's any good, so you know, we'll see. Obviously I'll let you know what transpires there as well. Come back in a bit.